everyone. This is Jeff Rains coming to you again with Foundation of Civilization. My weekly rundown of the news events that I see that are important. How are the world markets doing? Where are the Western military assets? What are they up to? What are they likely to be up to? And what significant events have occurred this week around the world? That's why I do this rundown of weekly events. In world markets, the oil, what essentially runs the world is oil, and West Texas crude ended at $69.36 a barrel. The Brent North Sea crude ended at $73.63 a barrel. OPEC basket ended at $76.11 a barrel. Gold maintained its value at $3,085.57 an ounce. It remained above $3,000 an ounce. Silver was also higher at $34.13 an ounce. The Baltic Exchange Dry Goods Index was at $1,602, so it's maintaining a little bit of stability there. ISR aircraft flights, ISR aircraft flights suggest a significant presence over northern Mexico, over the southern United States, which would be covering northern Mexico. It also suggests continued surveillance of western U.S. mountains. This week, about 6 or 7 B-2 stealth bombers were deployed to Diego Garcia with orders until early May, but those can easily be extended. They were also ferried there by C-17s, a number of C-17s. And for those of you who don't know, Diego Garcia is a British possession. It is an island out in the Indian Ocean which keeps these aircraft far enough away from Iranian weapon systems, the majority of Iranian weapon systems, their missiles and their drones. As far as U.S. Aircraft carriers go, the USS America was in Sasebo, Japan. The USS George Washington was in Yokosuka, Japan. The USS Carl Vinson has been operating in the East China Sea, but has been tasked to head to the Middle East in support of operations against Houthis in Yemen. Last report we had, the USS Abraham Lincoln was in its home port of San Diego, California. USS Harry S. Truman was operating in the Red Sea. The USS Nimitz departed Bremerton, Washington for regularly scheduled deployment to the Western Pacific. The last report we had, USS Ronald Reagan had departed Bremerton, Washington. The USS Tripoli remained at its home port in San Diego. The USS Wasp remained in its home port of Norfolk, Virginia. The USS Iwo Jima departed Norfolk, Virginia on March 12th, followed a couple days later by the Gerald R. Ford on the 14th, and the USS George H.W. Bush on the 16th of March, which is rather interesting. All three of those, it's unknown exactly where they're headed. Well, I should say I have no further updates as to where they're headed. The European markets were mostly down this week. The DAX was at 22,461.52. The FTSE was at 8,658.85. The CAC 40 was at 7916.08. The IBEX ended at 13,309.30. And while European markets are doing okay, the average citizen continues to struggle. All this at a time when the leaders in Brussels seek to increase defense spending. They keep drumming up the war against Russia. They keep telling their citizens that Russia is planning to invade. They're trying to prepare their citizens for the struggles, the potential struggles. Although I find it a little humorous because they're saying be prepared for 3 days in your home. I would recommend be prepared for about 3 months at least in your home. In Russia, North Korea has sent an additional 3,000 troops so far this year. That was in addition to the troops, I believe 11,000 troops they sent last year. As far as trying to settle things in Ukraine, Putin suggests putting Ukraine under a UN-sponsored external governance. Now, the diplomacy between Ukraine and Russia is very interesting at the moment, because Vladimir Zelensky's term has expired. Russia has stated they do not recognize him as the president of Ukraine, which is probably why you rarely, actually I don't think I've seen in the peace talks Russia and Ukraine speaking directly. The peace deal seems to be dragging on, seems to be taking a while to get figured out. I'm just glad that they're talking about peace as opposed to expanding war. In Lithuania, 4 U.S. soldiers went missing this week during an accident. Their vehicle was found underwater, but they were not with it. It was in a swampy area, and search is underway at the moment. The locals are looking to drain some of the swamp to hopefully recover the soldiers. Global automakers have warned that the U.S. president's threats of tariffs, could be very painful for them and the U.S. consumers. In Manheim, Germany, near Berlin, saw a car attack with one person being killed. A single vehicle drove into a group of pedestrians, and one of those people died. In the Netherlands, a 30-year-old Ukrainian from Dontetz, Oblast, attacked 5 people with a knife, and fortunately a man from the UK tackled him and stopped the attack, saving, well, who knows how many other people. As I mentioned, the EU is urging its citizens to stockpile supplies for 3 days. I would recommend significantly more time to be ready. The Asian markets, they were also down this week. Nikkei ended at 37,120.33. The SSE index ended at 3,351.31. The Hang Seng index ended at 24,426.60. The BSE Sensex was at 74,414.92. And the Nifty 50 ended at 23,519.35. In Myanmar and right next door in Thailand, there was an earthquake, a very significant earthquake. So far it was recorded as a 7.7, which is a very, very powerful earthquake. And the death toll so far has been listed at 1,000 people now. I expect that death toll to grow. Turkey is going through some very serious political upheavals, and President Urdauan has been arresting a lot of people, accusing them of working with terrorists. There has been a dispute with Kurds in eastern Turkey for some time now, and the mayor of Istanbul was arrested and accused of being linked to the terrorists that operate among the Kurds. The Chinese President Xi has made a plea for more investment in his country. For those of you who don't know, the Chinese economy is struggling and needs help. Last week, I believe it was, they noted that the Chinese government tried to open up banking, the loaning, reducing loan restrictions, to allow their citizens to be able to take out loans and conduct more business. This at a time when U.S. adds Chinese tech firms to its export control list, saying that they sought U.S. know-how for military use. Also, the United States, Japan, and Philippines staged naval drills in the disputed South China Sea as Chinese ships kept watch. In the Middle East, the U.S., probably some of those B-2s that were stationed at Diego Garcia, were sent over Yemen to strike Houthi targets. Israel struck Beirut for the first time since the ceasefire that ended their latest Israel-Hezbollah war. Iran sent a letter in response to the United States' request to jumpstart nuclear arms talks. There were no details on what was in the letter, so all we can do right now is speculate. In Africa, thank goodness there's a little movement in the struggle between Congo and Rwanda, or officially it's the M23 rebels. The rebels agreed to a ceasefire, and African coalition troops departed the eastern Congo. In a bit of good news, and I hope I pronounce this correctly, but Maiduguri, Nigeria, was flooded about 6 months ago. Citizens have worked together to clean up the area since then, and the markets are back to thriving again. I hope we can call it thriving. A group of people from northern Nigeria were attacked, and several of them killed. 16 were killed after security personnel stopped them and found improvised weapons. A local mob formed very quickly and killed several of them. In Cameroon, near Lake Chad, Boko Haram militants attacked and killed 12 Cameroon soldiers. In the Americas, the markets were mostly down this week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average ended at 41,583.90. The S&P ended at 5,580.94. The NASDAQ ended at 17,322.99. And a bit of good news, U.S. durable goods were expected to drop 1%, but they had a 0.9% increase. This new orders for manufactured durable goods in the U.S. Increased $2.7 billion, or the 0.9% increase, to $289.3 billion. Another bit of good news, business news. Hyundai has announced plans to build a steel plant in Louisiana, which will add about 1,300 new jobs. This strikes me as, and I'm sure that those plans have been going on for some time, and they just made the announcement this week, which of course Louisiana was very happy to, the governor of Louisiana was very happy to be there with Hyundai. This strikes me as one of the effects of how tariffs were supposed to work. We'll see in the long run whether it plays out that way or not. Calls are being made now to note that U.S. strategic sea lift capacity is struggling. Readiness levels have dropped 59%, due mostly to vessel material conditions and age. Most of the sea lift ships are reaching an age at which maintenance and repair costs are ballooning, and service life extensions won't improve readiness. A lot was made of a leak this week from Signal. Attack plans for the Houthi rebels in Yemen were leaked when a journalist from The Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg, was included on a group chat. A lot of the administration's opponents are trying to make a big deal of it, but they're looking. They are overlooking the last administration's mess ups. The 13 soldiers killed as we fled Afghanistan, and the billions of dollars left for our enemies, the Taliban. I also believe that there's something more to this. I don't think that this was just a simple mess up, a simple leak. My guess is they knew that there was a leaker. There are Washington, D.C. just can't seem to go a few days without somebody leaking some kind of information somewhere, somehow. So my guess is that the current administration decided they wanted to find out who was going to conduct the leaks, and they found a useful idiot, and sure enough, somebody leaked. This now, mind you, this could be just as a mistake that should be alleviated. This, as I suggested, could be a search for leakers. This was also, if you read the messages, I believe an offhanded way to get a message to Europe. If you read the discussion, the leaders discussed how the USA were the only ones who conduct this kind of mission, and they hoped that the Europeans would appreciate them making the travel through the Red Sea safe. And my guess is that there's probably some combination of these two, looking for the leakers and trying to get a message to Europe. Well, my guess is that Europe got the message, and they've been kind of getting the message. As we have seen, the rhetoric has been talking about splits between the United States and Europe. Lastly, I want to note that across the nation there have been activists who have been attacking, threatening owners of Tesla vehicles, and they've been vandalizing them, threatening them, and in some cases setting them on fire. The FBI has launched a task force targeting these anti-Tesla attacks. People are just really, really stupid today, and I mean, I don't care about your feelings for the people who that made the vehicle, the owner of the company. This is somebody's property, and you want to disagree with them politically, fine. Go make that known at the ballot box, but don't go destroying their property. That wraps it up for this week for me, and I hope that you guys are doing well. Hope that you're finding a resolution to your problems. Anybody in Europe who's listening to this, please heed the warning. And like I said, don't just get 3 days worth of material. You need to get several months worth of material if you can. Much love to everybody, and I hope that you're doing well. I just posted a video asking asking if you can help me figure out what U.S. foreign policy is. I tried to go through some of the details and a lot of the history of what's going on, and recognize that foreign policy for anybody is very difficult. And the United States, it's had its ups and downs recently. Please like, share, and subscribe this video. Go look at that video and see what I'm talking about. Like I said, I hope you're doing well. Hope that you guys are preparing for the changes that are ahead. And I really hope that the recommendations to prepare for future struggles are just recommendations, and they don't end up coming to anything. But unfortunately, I'm afraid that it appears they are going to come to something. Thank you very much for listening to me this week, and I hope that you guys are doing well, and I look forward to talking to you again in the near future. Have a good week.